Does anyone have a question? Stuart, I'd like to ask you to speak about opening more deeply. Look, Pat, and not only Pat, everybody, including myself, you open in accordance to your need to have a spiritual life. And if your need is profound, and if it's without, nothing interferes with it, and you don't have excuses for not having a need, and if that need is profound, it will take you as deep as you have to go to get to the next level in your life, and then the next level in your life, and the next level in your life. It determines how open we are, how deeply we hunger to truly have a spiritual life. And I don't mean getting fanatical about this, and I don't mean getting tense about this. I mean just simply feeling this kind of graciousness in yourself, this love inside yourself, this desire to really open in the greatest level depth inside yourself so that you can receive the energy of a higher nature. That energy will transform you and change just about everything that goes on in your life and enable you to see your life more clearly and to have gratitude for your life. By changing your life, I don't mean you suddenly run away to northern Alaska and build an igloo and say you're going to live there for the rest of your life. No, I mean by changing your capacity to see what your life is, the richness of your life, and to open to it and be grateful for it in a very profound way. All of this is based on need. I always say there are four instruments in this meditation. There's the mind, which is a powerful instrument that we use to get centered inside and focused. There's breath. Breath is life. Every time you inhale, you take in life. Every time you exhale, you let go of a part of yourself. Breath is like prayer. And then there's the need to be one with higher energy in the universe, a profound need. And the final thing is the will to do it. You put those four elements together and you can truly build a profound connection with higher energy in the universe. That's how you open more. And it's not only for you, Pat, it's for all of us. We cannot forget this. We go off into some Netherland, never land, and we forget the basic principles of what it is to do deep inner work on ourselves. I mean, the external world is like never land, you know? It really is. It's just unlimited Maya illusion. And it reflects the unlimited Maya and illusion that exists inside every human being. And it's like a mirror of what exists inside us and teaching us what we have to do to open. So it's not something to be intimidated by or threatened by or be afraid of. It's something to listen to and learn from and recognize that what you see is just a reflection of yourself. There are 20 people sitting here. Every person sees a different reflection of themselves. And then the need to grow enables one to change inside, and then the reflection of oneself changes. The reality that we live in, the world that we live in, changes. I hope what I'm talking about is clear, because I think it's really an important element. And, forget about a spiritual life, but just in learning how to live here like a human being, learning how to have humility and gratitude for life. And when you have humility and gratitude for the world that we live in, you're absolutely learning how to have humility and gratitude for your place in it. We're no longer strangers in a strange world. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome, Pat. Thank you. As I said last night, this book is a product of your questions. I mean it. I read something. Let me read something that I wrote in the acknowledgement. To my students who attend the online Zoom classes, their presence and the questions they ask made this book possible. And it's really true. Does anyone have a question? Anyone else have a question?
Stuart, I have a question.
No, Stuart?
You talk about the need to begin again in our practice, don't you? Yeah. Could you reiterate that a little bit?
Yeah, we get up in the morning and we have to begin again. Look, every activity, cycles in your life change, you change, you understand? And every time you undergo these changes in your life, it's like a renewal. It's like Genesis. It's like suddenly the world is being created around you again. And, these changes are essential because we have to let go of old patterns and old behavior, the way we lived. And we have to embrace the newness that life offers because we've changed and so that's, and this happens constantly to people. And too many people just work very hard to cling to the past. They work very hard to cling to old patterns. They don't want to let go. And it creates so much tension inside people that they literally destroy themselves fighting that battle. So everything is God talking to us 24 hours a day. I mean, I don't want to bring my book up again, but it's a good book, But it begins with, me telling the story about my father, who got very sick. He had 106 fever. He was in the hospital. He was dying. And I'll never forget, this is how the book begins. How I walked in and I sat down and he was lying in bed with total clarity. I had never seen my father so calm. I looked into his eyes, I could see 500 miles. And then I got up and left his hospital room, and I met his nurse, and I said to her, "What's going on with my father? I'd never seen him look so calm and peaceful." And she said to me something that has been with me my entire life. To her knowledge, every time she sees a person just getting ready to pass on, they go into this deep state of peace and serenity. And what she told me was God talking to me. And I said to myself, "Stuart, your father lived 49 years. I've never seen him this peaceful. You know, he should have this peace, 15 minutes before he's going to leave the world." Changed my life. It was God talking to me. I began to look for a teacher. Everything changed. It so affected me so deeply. And then I discovered that God talks to you all the time. We have to learn how to listen and then do something about it. Not just, "Oh, yeah, that sounds good. That's great. Oh, yeah." Back into the old patterns and habits. But what do we do about it? How do we implement that in our actions, how we live our life, the choices we make in life? And God is talking to us constantly. And that enables us to renew ourselves if we listen and if we trust that higher energy. I mean, when I was 16, I knew nothing about that, but I did know that I was crazy. I did know that I had a lot of tension, and I needed to find somebody who could teach me how to master my inner life. It took 9 years to find Rudy. So renewing oneself is absolutely essential if you want to have a spiritual life. And listening. We're being shown how to do this every moment. We have to be able to listen and open enough to let it sink in and then do something about it. Our activity or the way we function has to do something about these amazing teachings that are given to us all the time. Even a good smack in the head and a kick in the butt, is a teacher. Then we have to listen and function and let our activity, our karma, truly get us closer to spiritual enlightenment. I hope that's clear. I mean,
Thank you.
You're welcome, Derek. Does anyone else have a question?
Stuart, I have a question.
Yes, Bob.
You were speaking about discerning and listening to the voice of God or Spirit, and uh, sometimes it's a very fine line what that is, and how do I discern that that's what I'm listening to, and not just a sidebar?
Bob, I mean, you're always asking me to define things, Bob, and I keep coming back to telling you that I can't define these things. Even the voice that's in your head, you have to listen to. Listen to it to determine, am I going to follow this logical rule and of my head and what it's telling me to do? Or is this an energy that is going to take me nowhere? If your heart is open, big if, you understand that voice will come from a higher place. It really will. You have to be open. When I was 16 years old, I was so struck by seeing my father in that condition, lying there in a state of spiritual enlightenment, basically. something in me really opened. And then this nurse comes along and tells me this thing that affected me for the rest of my life. God bless her. If I saw her on the street, I wouldn't even know her. But she really was God talking to me. But I was open to hear that. And if I started to analyze it and figure it out, and what is it, God? Is it this? And oh no, but you understand, the whole thing would have gotten destroyed. But it affected everything. I mean, all the books I started reading, everything. I became a kind of quasi-Hindu Buddhist there. You know, Zen and everything was geared towards learning about spirituality, making up my own mantras, making my own meditations. Everything drove me to find somebody who could teach me how to get that inner peace, that quiet. But at the moment when it happened, I was open. And I discovered also my father was my first great teacher. God bless him. On his deathbed. Can I define any of this? No. Will I try to define any of this? No. Does it work? Yes. It works. We have to listen. Then we have to act in accordance to what that voice is guiding us to do. And we're going to make mistakes and we're going to blow it. And I can't tell you what those 9 years were like. My God, huh? But that voice kept pushing me. And then one day, Rudy, by accident, and it wasn't an accident, manifested in my life. And it all changed. And boy, was I open to listen to him. I was 3 weeks out of a Spanish jail when I met Rudy. I mean this, you know? I was living in hell, and I walked in there and bing, this person was like a miracle. And I told this friend of mine, I got to go back and see this person. I don't know what happened in there, but something amazing happened. And I've got to go back and see him again. I was listening through all of the tumult and turmoil of that 9 years. I was still listening. And I finally heard. Does anyone else have a question? So listen, not only to me, but to life. Listen and let life be a teacher. Life is the guru. I told you many times, my job is not to be a guru. My job is to help each and every one of you get strong enough inside yourself that you can sit in front of the real guru, and that's life. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, if there are no more questions, then there will be meditation on Sunday. There'll be a meditation this evening that Jennifer will be teaching. And God bless you all. Thank you. And I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you, Stu.
God bless
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stuart.
You're welcome.
Stuart.